Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Car Juice. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys a review on one of the most legendary cars to be produced in this modern era. I think that this is a true classic just waiting to happen. This in front of me is the 2024 Lexus IS500. This is the last of the V8 engines. This is basically the exact same V8 engine that Lexus has been using for give or take the last like 16 or so odd years. And it comes straight out of the old school Lexus ISF that was not sold since 2013. This car has 472 horsepower, completes the 0 to 60 in about 4.4 seconds, and yes, it has a V8. This color is incognito, and I cannot get enough of it. It's almost like a Nardo gray with a little bit of a rust effect to it. You've got Lexus's kind of renewed styling here in the front end with their new headlights that they came out with in 2021 whenever they refreshed this model, which makes it look really, really nice. And then on all four corners, you're going to find Bridgestone tires wrapped around these beautiful 19-inch BBS wheels. On the front, you are featuring 235mm tires, and in the rear, you are going to have 265mm tires. So not quite as fat as what you'd find on a BMW M3, which this car does compete with. However, from more of a value proposition rather than from a storage proposition. This car also has these really nifty stacked exhaust tips straight out of the old school Lexus ISF. However, those were much bigger. This thing sounds absolutely incredible, mind you. So let me go ahead and get you a quick cold start. Gonna let her warm up for a second.
5 minutes later.
All right, so this is in Sport Plus. Yeah, so as you can tell, this thing, it sounds absolutely incredible, and personally, the engine is absolutely the best part of this car. I do really enjoy the styling. The exterior does not fit the interior, which I do find a little bit confusing. Speaking of exterior, you do have this painted black spoiler, no metallic flake in it, and I assume that all of these are going to be in black. It does match the side mirrors, which is really nice, and it adds a nice sporty look to the entire car. The air curtains on this car are non-functional. That's what we call the area below the headlight in BMW language. I don't know what Lexus calls it, but I sell cars at BMW Cincinnati North, and if you're interested, this car is available for sale for $1,000 off of MSRP, only 2,000 miles on it, and it is 67,000, just under 67,000. Original MSRP was right around that 68,000 mark. I just love the wheels on this car. Behind the wheels, you will find 4-piston brakes. So compared to the Lexus ISF, this is not a true F Sport model, or not a true F model, however. This is an F Sport model. Similar to how BMW works, F Sport isn't going to be quite as juicy as the full-on, full-fledged M models. And then these are ventilated front discs. They're not fantastic, but it still does handle very well, and this would be an excellent daily driver. I also know that this will be a very reliable engine because of the fact that Lexus is very particular with how they do everything. It is just going to last a very long time and not really give you too much of an issue. As far as trunk space goes, we have to do the human test. Let's see how this one goes for us. And another nice thing you'll find is you have a full-size spare tire in the rear of this car. All right, I don't want to lock myself in, but yeah, I could fit in here about 2.6 times 5'8", 142 pounds. Oh, baby. Moving back into the rear of the car, you do have a nice rear LED matrix kind of back end light that does light up along the trunk as well. So this thing looks really cool at night. And moving on to the interior, you are going to see the exact same interior that you'll find on my dad's 2014 Lexus ISF. that was the first year for that car, and in 2014 it was really cool. Unfortunately, Lexus doesn't change their cars almost ever, and because of that, everything basically looks the same for the last 10 years. Whenever they did the refresh, all they really did was change out the start button. They modernized this really cool clock here in the center, and they kept the transmission the same, sport mode's essentially the same, and then they made the center navigation button that much harder to use. You do, thankfully, I believe, at least have Apple CarPlay. However, it's just very difficult to use anything on this car. You've got your different Bluetooth metrics and stuff like that, but you know, it's just really old school in here. The screen is much smaller. I'm gonna guess this is around a 10.5-inch screen. But if you're buying this car, let me be very clear that you are buying it for everything except the interior. We'll get more into the driving specifics and handling here in a moment. There are some good things that I will say about that. But before we switch to the driving portion, I just want to show you guys underneath the hood, as underneath the hood is the absolute best part of this car. There we go. So underneath the hood, you are going to find a gorgeous carbon fiber mono cover here for the engine. See all of those different cylinders inside. This car does feature titanium valves, which is quite cool. And underneath the hood, it's just very neat and tidy. You also have some really great adaptive struts. So as you are changing the different driving modes, this car is going to change how it leans into the corners. And overall, this thing drives very smooth. We'll get into that a little bit more in a second. LED headlights, and you do have a full around 360 parking camera, so you will have that top-down view. I'm gonna put you guys right here, and then I'm gonna put another version of you guys right there. All right, so in the interior of the Lexus IS500, you are going to find yourself in a very comfortable cabin. You do have a nice soft touch dashboard. Only the portion on the cowl directly in front of the driver is truly soft touch. Everything else is sort of like nice rubberized plastic. The top of the door cards is not very nice at all. It feels very plasticky and like it just came out of an assembly line. The lower door card portion is okay. The leather feels very synthetic, but the one nice thing that I will say is that my dad's IS350 has 62,000 or 60,000 some odd miles on it now, and it still looks brand new on the inside, which is great. And he bought that car brand new in 2014 and essentially has changed the oil about every other oil change on time, and it has had no problems whatsoever. And I think it'll be a very similar experience. As you guys know, Lexus is very reliable with this. The IS500, I keep saying it wrong, I'm sorry about that. But with the IS500, regardless of the fact that, you know, it's got the massive V8, this thing is so dang good whenever you're driving it. That was just a pull in comfort mode. Whenever you throw it into sport, you get the best of the best on this car. It does have Sport Plus, which requires you to hit it twice. That is the only way that the transmission feels good in this car. This car is rear-wheel drive with a mechanical limited slip differential, so it handles very well in the corners. However, you cannot modulate the traction control. The traction control always stays on at any given point in time. It doesn't really go away with Sport Plus, which I really think it should. With a car like this, if you're ripping it around with that 472 horsepower, I want oversteer. I don't want to have to, you know, do a whole rain dance in order to make sure the car actually handles and drives how I would expect it to. I just want to be able to turn the traction control off really quick, cook a little corner, and then put it right back on whenever it starts raining. That's what this thing should be able to do. It does have a couple of nice creature comforts, such as automatic windshield wipers. And then I do really like the fit and finish of the start-stop button. It's high quality. You've got this nice modern clock in here. They did change that whenever they did the facelift on this car a few years ago. And the sound system is really good. I love Mark Levinson's sound systems. It's a very high quality option whenever it comes to audio systems. Lexus does that very well. The infotainment is very frustrating, but as soon as you get away from the stoplight, you get to start listening to that gorgeous engine again. And it sounds even better whenever you put it into Sport Plus. It just screams like... This thing is the coolest car from 2016. That is exactly how it feels like. The downshift from third to second is a little bit clunky, same with second to first. And whenever you punch this thing, in second gear, the traction control light starts kicking on at you. Like, how cool would it be if this thing would have to like do a little shimmy shake if you were actually punching it, because it would make it feel just that much more raw. Compared to the ISF, this car isn't as rough or as raw as that car was, but it does have an extra 56 horsepower, so it's nice to see that they were able to get a little bit more done to it. If you threw an intake on this thing, it would sound absolutely mental, because you'd get that insane intake noise whenever you're going between the gears, and you just get... And then you'd also have some cracks and pops from like a custom exhaust. But other than that, you need nothing at all. The BBS wheels are excellent. The adaptive struts, even in Sport Plus, you could daily this thing all the time and you wouldn't have any issues with it whatsoever. Whenever you're popping it into sport, you do get a little bit fishy if you're in first gear, but it only allows a small amount of slip before the car then starts getting involved to keep you safe, which is nice if you are somebody that's a little bit less enthusiast inclined and aren't used to driving high horsepower cars. This is the perfect car for somebody that wants to drive a really, really cool car, but doesn't want to have to deal with really cool car stuff. Like, you're not going to have some expensive, crazy services on this thing. The oil changes are going to be more expensive because how big this engine is. It's going to use a lot of oil. But apart from that, you've got great ventilated seats. You've got seats that aren't going to wear and tear. And overall, this car is just going to be a very easy car to own. It is also going to hold its value, hopefully, very well. Being that it's a Lexus, Lexuses do hold their value very well due to their dependability rating, and overall just are a good car to own long term. The steering wheel's nice with the perforated kind of side profile of it. It makes it very easy to find the center, and I'm glad that it doesn't have a flat bottom. The more cars that I drive that have a flat bottom steering wheel, the less that I actually enjoy the flat bottom steering wheel. If you guys are interested in this car by chance, we do have it available for sale at my dealership. I'll put a link to it down in the description below. Backup camera is a little bit fuzzy. This is the perfect driver's car. It is like everything that was perfect in the 2010 to 2018 range, which in my opinion was like the last gold rush era that I think we're gonna have in the car industry. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did and you did learn something, please comment down below and let me know, and hit that subscribe button. The Lexus IS500, from its custom gauges to its overall just simplistic interior, is a tremendous car. I would give this car a 7.7 out of 10. Back seat with the Peter meter, you're looking at around 3.5, like 3.5 or so inches. So about 0.6 Peters overall. So not a bad back seat whenever you're sitting behind a short folk like myself. But if you're a bit taller like my dad is, he's 6 foot, you would be able to sit 2 6 feet people, but your knees are going to be touching. So probably not great for long trips. You have a full size sunroof on the interior, and this is just an excellent car. And if you're looking for a budget M3 competitor, this is the one to get. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Deuces.